A 4-day sweep of suspected animal abusers lands 21 people in jail. There were 145 warrants altogether. Most of the suspects had moved. Those arrested faced misdemeanor charges of animal cruelty and abuse. Some, though, had other outstanding warrants.
Some of the defendants had other warrants for crimes that included sexual abuse of a child, tampering with government records, and other felonies. Through my experience, we know that people who abuse animals often do the same to people.
The Harris County Task Force was created a year ago as a central reporting agency for animal abuse. Check out 927paws.org for more.